Okay folks, welcome to another one. So as we left on the last video, we're going to start stripping down this door. Now you can see, possibly moving around a bit, there's a crease along the rear quarter there. I suspect that runs along the door as well. I can feel something inside the door. So what I'm going to do is strip the door down to back to metal and see what we got. There's something going on the bottom here as well, because it's bowed out slightly, so maybe a bit of work to be done there, but we won't know until we've got it down to metal to see where we're at. I'm going to use a couple of things to do that. These poly strip discs, which I've ordered and got, these have come this morning, so that's good timing. These are very, very good for stripping off paint and hardly touching the metal underneath. I'm a big believer in these. And a DA sander as well. And I'm going to rig this up to a vacuum cleaner, try and suck the dust out as best we can. So thank you for tuning in, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. Please do subscribe if you don't already, it's a huge help. Right, as you can probably see, there's some chunk of filler in there and it's full of little dinks. So yeah, there's a lot more filler in this than I thought there was going to be. The crease line isn't where I thought it was going to be, so that's good news. I think it's just lots of little dinks. So we'll keep on going and see what we get. What if I can make something to hold that in place? Simple bit of metal wrapped around there, bolted to the side of there, and hold that in place so I don't have to use two hands. So let's give that a whirl. Okay, this is mostly good news as it happens. There was an awful lot of filler in this door for no obvious reason. There is a crease in it, as I suspected, but it's not nearly as bad. Probably could do with pulling out just a tad, just to bring a bit more level. On the very good news front, there's no rust in the door whatsoever, so that's excellent. A lot of that bow was just excess filler. There's a bit of a bump there, probably could do with being shaped back in, but that is nothing serious. There's odd dink and bump here and there, but all in all, so far that's pretty good. Let's see if we can get this to line up a bit better along there. That's nice there, probably could do with coming out a touch there, but just about here it sticks right out, so let's see what we can do with that. Oh yeah, good to about there and about there. So we've got our metal spoon from Metal Shaper Tom. Let's see if we can bump that in a bit. That's a million times better. Ready. I think over this side, I think there might be a bit of tapping that in. And a bit of both, I think that needs to come out just a touch as well. If we can get to it. Yeah, that's a million times better along there now. Quite happy with that. Let's see now if we can get this just to pop out just a tad, because if we put the straight edge on there, try and do this one-handed, you can see there's a fair drop there. So I could do no spot welding gadgets along here, but I don't have one, so have a look, see what I think I can do with that. We're down behind here somewhere, and if you can see it on there, but we've got sound deadening material there and some sort of strengthening brace along there, which I think is going to make that a little bit difficult. So there's our crease, just about there, and if I put this on there, you can see you're at about, it's about 2 mil in. It's not impossible to do with filler. It's not 2 mil isn't horrifically deep. It's more than I'd probably be comfortable with, so I would like to get this out if I can somehow. I'll have to have a ponder about that. For now I'm choosing to ignore that there's a dent down there, because I can't see a way around it other than having one of those dent stud puller jobbies. So I might see if I can either get a lender one of those or get one from somewhere. So you'll see I've pulled a handle out of here, a couple of screws that are particularly difficult to get off, and that. So let's strip that down and see what hides behind there then. Some things I think you're better off just not knowing what's going on. There's a nasty crease down there. You see that in the right on the body line. A couple of dinks here, a couple of dinks and donks everywhere, but nothing to warrant the amount of filler that was in this door. Right, I've bitten the bullet and ordered a dent puller. So Amazon will deliver. So in the meantime, I'm going to get some well-through primer on this door just to give it a bit of a coating to stop the flash rusting. Thankfully it's quite dry, it's cold and dry today, so that's good. Nothing too flash, just to get just to put something half decent on there to get a bit of covering. Now with a bit of paint on it, you can get a bit better feel of the damage. So there's that one, and there's the focus on it. So you can see the damage on the side there as well. So dent pulling spot welding Dewberry gadget machine ordered. Let's see what I can get on with that then. Lovely, the new gadget has arrived. So it's one of those magic spot welder doofer things. So let's have a see what damage we can do with this then. First thing I need to do is sort that out. Some European plug on that, so I have to go for a scrounge now, see what I can scrounge a plug off. I've bought this. This is no sponsorship going on here, so we'll see what it's like. I saw Trev on Trev's blog using one of these a couple of years ago, and he thought it was brilliant. So let's give it a crack, because we got that crease there to sort out, and that crease there to sort out. But I think before we attack that, we'll set this up and have a play with a bit of metal first and see what we do. We have a plug. We have plugged in my socket, which is closest to my consumer unit, so it's just a 13 amp 16 amp cable going from there to that socket, and then from that socket straight down my hefty cable into that. So we try it on that first. But my hope is that it will run off my welding trolley. That's got a reasonable size wire going to it. So to practice with, get the old back panel, which I haven't scrapped yet. Oop, focus. So I'll clean a patch of that off, make a couple of dinks in it, and then see what we can do with it. Okay, let's see what we can do. Right, the first thing I want to try out is this slide hammer thing. So let's get me the end on this out. This is literally the first time I'll turn this on as well, so goodness knows how this is going to go. So my idea is, I've cleaned off a nice bit of there. I got some 80 grit on a sanding block, and I'm going to dump a hole in it, run the 80 grit over it, see where the hole is, and then try and see if I can ping it out. Well, the first challenge is to get this earth on it. Now, quite a few have complained about these earths being a bit of a problem, so let's see what happens with that first. Right, first turn on. Oh, there's no lights. Oh, there we go. There's lights. Oh, changing colour LED to say what power you're at. Okay, so apparently backing up to full power to get that on. I just put the two together. And that's on. Well, that's not too bad. Okay, that looks good. Bring the power down to somewhere around there. It does come with the instruction manual, but I haven't got a clue what it says. So it's just a case of suck it and see. Now there's a little marker on there for looking for the little keys that come with it. So let's try it with that one first. Okay, let's make a donk. There's some there. Got my divot there now. Hopefully you can see there's the divot, and you can see where I've sanded around it is highlighted where the divot is. If that'll show up, oh yeah, it should show up there. So let's try the gadget and see what happens. Right in the centre. More power, I think. Right. What we're up against is this bouncing around too much. Right, let's stabilise that first. Right, let's try that. pull a little bit too much there, made a bit of a high in fact. Okay, that seems to have worked. Obviously you need a bit of practice at it. Let's have a go at the putting a line in it. I'll see if I can run a crease into that somehow. How am I going to do that? There we go. So we've got a crease along there now. Let's see what's the best way of doing that. Is that with a... That's worked quite well. That was quite a crease gone into there. There's still a little bit of a dip there, so a bit of practice to get it right. And you can see there I've actually pulled that a little bit too much, so I've ended up with a crown on it as well, so that could be gently tapped back, I guess. Right, well, the first $1 million question, which I suspect I know the answer to, is will it go through weld through primer? I suspect the answer to that question is, of course it won't. But we'll try it nonetheless. Right, let's see if we can get the earth on first. No easy answer to that. Okay. Nope. Broke off. Right, okay, I've got my earth on. Just down there. So let's see what we can do with this little crease across here. That's highlighted all sorts of issues across there, so let's start on the crease and see where we get up. Right, okay, that should give us a path to go down. Ooh. Oh, it's definitely bringing it out. You can see how that's less low now. Okay, let's just carry on down it. Or should we try the wriggle wires? Yeah, let's give those a go. Okay, so also in the kit is these wires, which you're supposed to be able to press in and pull everything out in one go. So let's give that a whirl. What's the worst that can happen? So the idea is you can press these in. So we need a tool for that, which I believe is that one. And we melt them in like so. Let's have a go at this then. you've got a claw, I suppose to hook into those. And we can pull it out with the other slide hammer, like so. Oh crumbs, that's a million times better than it was. Oh, I like that. Okay, let's do it again. A bit of oil can in there, now. That's made a huge difference though, huge difference. In fact, now we've got slight high spots and oil canning, so we need to do some shrinking to get rid of that. But the worst of that crease is gone. So as before, there was a definite dip in that, a serious dip. And now that's all gone. We've got a couple of high spots there, which I think we'll have a go at, see if we can shrink those down. Now there's some wandy thing in here, which I believe is for shrinking. So let's see what happens when we use that. I guess the idea of this is just touch it on the end and hold it. More power perhaps for the shrinkage. Definitely taking those high spots back. Hopefully it'll tighten up this oil canning now. Yeah. Okay. Now, as usual, I'm not going to try and get a metal finish with this because that's beyond me. All I'm trying to do here is I will be skimming the whole door with filler, but I only want it to be 2 mil thick of the absolute max. So if I can get all of these little dips down within sort of 1/2 mil or so, then we are laughing, and we're not a million miles off there with that. And that oil canning is going away as well. Okie dokie. try on all these other little high spots. Seem to have made things worse there. Once it's cooled down, I've got to wait, be patient. Now it's cooled down, it's tightened up. Yeah, that's working lovely. Right, that's tightening that all up. Okay, let's get a bit more ambitious then. Let's see what we can do with this little beastie up here. We've got a body line here which try not to damage. Attempt to line that back up again. Okay, my thinking is this. If I pull on that body line, where the body line should be, which is there, and then see what happens. So I guess with the wavy lines, we want to go across the body line as best we can. Okay, so we're plugged in on my welding trolley now. Let's see if we can get some power going. Oh, lovely. That's good news. Let's get the claw on it. Something's happening there. I have seen on the old YouTube when people are doing this, put a tension on it and give the surrounding metal a bit of a tap to help relieve stress apparently. If that was did any difference or not. Oh, I made a hole in it. Okay, I'll hold the weld up now. Maybe a few holes at this. I think the metal's so thin there from previous grinding and welding. I think we're up against it. Let's try the slide hammer individual bit on it. It's a lot better than it was. I think I need to clean this up a bit more so we can get in and get that crease there. We've got the body line mostly sorted. We can tack that crease there. But I think the most thing I'm up against here is I haven't cleaned this back all the way to bare metal. Well, it is a lot better than it was. A lot better. Right, don't get too far ahead of myself here. Interestingly, even with just welding the little spots on it, you can see it coming up very slightly as it's going. Right, I think that's brought that up enough to a reasonable layer for filler. No doubt I could get it better than that, but I seem to be going round in circles here now, fighting against the crease here. Right, we're going to try and get a bit of a hammer and dolly on that as well, see if we can smoothen that out a little bit. What's a dip in the middle of there? Okay, there's quite a dip in the middle of there, so we can do something with that. Yeah, better, we can work with that. Let's see what's happening with this line here. Right, now one last attempt to see if I can pull that up a little bit more there. If I can't, I'll leave it be before I do damage. Yeah, that's probably as good as I'm going to get that. That still looks horrendous, but that's as good as I'm going to get it. I'll have to weld these holes up and a little hole there. But that is a lot less, I mean considerably less than what it was. And that's all I'm after. It's just I'm happy to put a bit of filler in there, but I don't want it 10mm thick like it was before. Same down here. The oil cannon's gone from that now because that shrinking tool has done its job. So I'm going to crack on with this now. It's quite a slow process, but you see the basics of it. May got a bit carried away there. So I got the welder out and welded up the holes, and then thought, oh, I could weld the middle of that up a little bit. And as it happens, it's worked out okay. So I'm now, as you can see, very close to a finish on that. Hard to show you with this, but it's all within a millimetre of a surface finish. So, and the filler will stick very nicely to that as well. So that's one of those things that as I'm doing it thinking, this might be a really stupid idea, it's actually worked out okay. So I shall crack on with the rest of the door. I bumped out the little crease that was there and just try and get the door to some sort of usable level. progress report. I've got a nice flow long ways between the panels there and there, so they're mostly lining up nicely now. Obviously the door rubbers could do with being in for this, but all I've done is pull the door up against its latch, so it's right out. So with the door rubbers on, it's the latch is going to control it really. The gap down there is mostly okay, widens out a bit there, so I may start putting a bit of weld on the edge of this now just to start tidying this gap up. And down this corner needs a bit of attention too, but I think I'll sort this one out first. And if I get this door gapped up to the rear quarter nicely, then when I come to fit in the wing properly, we can gap the door to the wing. That's mostly been done in the previous episode, so there's only fine fettling with that anyway. As for all of this, this is as good as I'm going to get it. None of this sticks out horrendously, according to the straight edge anyway. So a fine skim of filler over this entire door will straighten this up very nicely indeed. So let's see what we can do with this door gap here then. And as for the new gadget, yeah, very happy with that. I obviously need to practice and get to use that better. You see the guys on YouTube who do this for a living, they do some really amazing things with this, especially with those claw pullers and gadgets. So I need some practice with that. But yeah, very happy with that. That was money well spent. Right, let's get something which we can use as a gapping tool. Oh, it's 5mm is probably about right. So we use this as a basic guide for gapping us. 5mm drill bit. Basically mark up on the door where we need to start coming out. Actually down there. So all I'm going to do is weld a bead. I tried flattening, you probably saw in the previous little section, I was trying to flatten this out, so hopefully there's a bit more meat in there to sort of spread that along. I did a little bit, but not nearly enough. So the idea now is to weld a bead on the edge of that. There's two ways we can do this. There is cut this panel down here, right on the edge, and hoik this across to suit the door. But I quite like the way that flows up around there. The door sort of hoiks off here at a funny angle, so that it's the door I feel is wrong. So I'm going to weld up onto the door and get that to follow the profile of the rear quarter. I think would be nicer. Right, now you see, I wasn't being too cautious about heat distortion down there, because on an edge like this, you've got a fair bit more leeway with that. Because there's a lot of tight edges going on here, it doesn't really distort that much. So now with it all closed up, you can already see a vast improvement in how that gap looks. So the idea now is to grind this off on the flat planes either side, and then clean up that piece and just keep going backwards forwards with it until we're happy with the gap. But you can see a huge difference already that has made, and it's just simply building up the edge with the weld. Righto, with that now ground back, so you'll see what I did. I ground down that face first, then around the back here, ground that off flat so it was the right same thickness all the way down. Then using a small slicing disc, got the gap even up through there, or considerably better. And then with the flap disc again, just rounding the edges off so it looks like a fold. And look how much better that looks. Considerably better. We could do with a little bit extra there. So we're coming in and out with a little bit where we've begun and finished. So we'll attack that bit next. But already considerably better. Certainly better than it left Ford's factory back in the day, that's for sure. Right, there we go, that's much better. So you see a nice even gap there now, which is much more pleasing to the eye. Now, especially because this car is going to be white, a little bit of extra effort on getting the gaps close, at least half tidy. Now you'll see some shops will use filler to make a gap, so they use a couple of blades and get the filler. Even professional shops doing that. Now, even as an amateur, I could see that's a terrible idea. Might be okay for a show car, but a car that's going to get used, one little chip or door dink is going to knock all that filler off. So a metal edge is better. Obviously the finish is going to be probably a very, very slight skim of filler, and of course primer, filler and paint. So there's always going to be, like on the edge there's always going to be a non-metal edge. But to have a pile of it in filler, it's just asking for trouble. Right, I think that's as far as I need to go with that door, getting that straight. So we're straight to the rear quarter now. Our door is at right angle to the rear quarter. It's nice and close now, so that looks much better. The gap is nice in that rear quarter, and the worst of those dents are out, so we can do something with that. So I think I'll chuck some primer on there now, and that'll be that done. I am reasonably pleased with that. I got that out, got the crease out from there about as well as I expected, if I'm honest. Those guys who know how to use this kit better would have probably got a much better finish than that, but I'm happy with that. That means there's a lot less filler going to go in this door, and that crease down there as well is all but gone. So, and the oil cannon's gone out the door as well, so that's also good news. The body lines are nice and sharp on the door, so we can work with those, and that body line at the top there, we can finish that with filler to get that crisp, but it is very, very close. Thanks again for watching. So I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. Always enjoy having a new toy to play with, so that was good, and glad I ordered that. It's certainly done what I wanted it to do. Not a perfect job, but it's close enough. And you saw how the play with the door gaps. So that's when I come on to doing all the gaps together. That's going to be one long haul. So what I'll probably do when I come to do that is put a simple video together doing one of them, a bit more in depth than what I just showed with the door. The boot gap needs a fair bit of fettling. On one side is slightly narrower than the other side, so I'll probably do a better video on gapping when I do the boot gap. So that's the door. This door in a usable condition. The good news is there's no rot in it. It's absolutely rot free, which is about the only panel on the car that has been, to be fair. So that's good news. I doubt it's the original panel. It's probably one that's been hacked on at some point. So the next challenge will probably be fitting the wings. So I need to Gravitex on the inside of the wings and then start fitting these wings up, because they're weld-on wings at the moment. They just sort of bolted on. Well, this one's just laying on there at the moment, so they need fitting on properly. So thanks again for watching. see you on the next one.